This is the review of Halloween 2. My name is Spike Green, George aka Spike Green, and I want to say one thing before the other introductions. Three, two, one, here we go! Hello, welcome to the Halloween 2 review. We got Cinema Stein, we got Silver Screen Slasher, and we got George aka Spike Green, myself. Yes, indeed, I brought the music back just for this thing, and I did not tell him beforehand because it was a surprise. But still, what about your introductions, folks?
Viewers beware, you're in for a scare. Salutations, my fiendish film fanatics. I am the Silver Screen Slasher, and welcome back to Picture House of Horror 2, The Rise of Cinema Stein. And yes,
And
nice to be
yes,
able to
I
join.
am your host, folks, the Cinema Stone. And yes, please, we're about to now embark on another great I guess part of our journey in Picture House of Horror 2. This time, as Spike said, we'll be reviewing the 1981 sequel, Halloween 2. First
Not to
off,
be
a
confused
little
with Rob Zombie's
introduction.
Halloween 2.
Yes, not to be confused with Rob Zombie's Halloween. Oh, first off, though, just one quick little thing as well. Warning: later on this movie review will have a bit of spoilers for all of you. So for all of you who haven't seen Halloween 2, go ahead and get out of here real quickly. Go and get out of here real quickly if you can, if you don't want it spoiled. But for all the
What?
people who have and just want to see our thoughts on it, well, please enjoy.
Spoilers and possible language.
Yeah, and possible language as well. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is the backstory behind the making of this film. Halloween 2 had a bit of a troubled production, unfortunately. First off, is that John Carpenter did not want to really, it was not in the director's chair this time. Instead, the director's chair was handed over to, well, a guy named Rick Rosenthal. Um, and he was going to be in charge of the Halloween 2 project. Although Carpenter was involved, but so far the only few things he did, I believe, was help at least write a bit of the script and also actually did the new and slash I guess the Halloween theme 2.0, I would call it.
Oh,
The
yeah?
only difference, of course, about it is that it sounds like this. Instead of the more.
I call it the Disco Halloween theme.
Yeah, it sounds like something you would actually hear in a disco.
Yeah, which I
Anyway,
think was what John Carpenter was going for when he was doing this. One
so
also
yeah,
important thing to note is that Halloween 2 actually takes place on the same night as Halloween.
yeah, but yeah, he also helped compose the film for this sequel. And another reason why, just let you know as well, another reason why John Carpenter never really wanted to direct sequel to the Myers at least storyline is because first off, John Carpenter stated that he hated Halloween 2 because originally the series was actually supposed to be based on a series of events that of anything really that could happen on Halloween, not just Michael Myers, but other stuff originally had planned for it. And also, there was an original version of Halloween 2 where it took place 3 years later after that night. And this time, Laurie Strode would be in her early 20s. And she would, and the only different thing as well about this one is that she would be living in an apartment building. And all I know is that that's where it takes place. And somehow, 3 years later, Michael Myers catches up to her once again. But now we get into the official 1981 classic, Halloween 2. First off, the film starts off with, by the way, I swear and I counted this. We see pretty much a retrend of the ending of the original Halloween, where of course Loomis shoots down Michael Myers from the balcony. Of course, in the original he did it 6 times, but you know if he was counted, he did it 7 times. Think about this. I actually counted. The first one was him kind of near the staircase. That's one. But then near the balcony, he shoots him another, I believe, 8 times. So that means if you add that all together, I believe he shot him 9 times.
Actually, when I saw the opening of the film, I actually counted all of those shots, and there was a total of 7, meaning they added in the extra shot during production.
Oh,
My
well, I'm
guess
just
is
saying, at least I thought it was 9 because I don't know, it just looked like it.
My guess is that the distribution company for Halloween 2, Universal Studios, couldn't get the right. It's for the first one that actually used some of the footage from that film in their recap. So they just had to add new sound effects. Hence why Loomis has got tried up 7 times when it should have been 6.
I actually want to hear a bit of your thoughts on this as well, Spike, and Phil, a bit. Did you guys find it a bit pointless that they also had to replay Larry, a very big success, of course, to the film Halloween? Anyway, pretty much replay some of the footage from the original movie when we kind of didn't really need to, because I saw when the original came out, pretty much nearly everyone, or basically everyone in the world, saw that film.
Well,
so don't you find it a bit pointless?
Everyone in the world who had seen horror films, who like horror films, like not obviously children or that sort of thing, but still, in terms of, I think that recaps are pointless in that way because for a film that begins immediately after, you should just begin it. They're taking, maybe have a horror opening with Michael like you have after that, and then show Laurie going to hospital. That's how I would have done it.
But truth be told, this the way Halloween 2 opens does set up Michael's sort of supernatural presence around Haddonfield, and basically how he managed to survive through most of the films he's been in.
Yeah, so the plot. Now we get to the plot of this film, pretty much. Halloween 2, of course, picks off just where the last one left off, and this is where the new we pretty much see Laurie getting onto into an ambulance, stretchered into an ambulance. While meanwhile, Dr. Loomis is pretty much going absolutely crazy looking for Michael as usual. Oh, do you know another kind of goofy thing that I noticed already about this film that I kind of think is a bit too goofy and a bit too dumb for a film like this? We actually see, as I like to call, a body print in the grass of Michael Myers' body where he last landed if he went off the balcony. It's just the way they did that. It just looks almost so cartoony to me. I mean, trust me, I've actually laid down in grass before, and whenever you get off it, obviously it doesn't leave a mark of your body there. So how the hell did that happen?
I mean, it's like the logic of a cartoon. Like, no offense to Looney Tunes cartoons, but it's something like that. If in one of those someone goes through the wall and there's the exact shape of them, I mean, that's just meant for laughs,
That's true. But to be fair, though, at the end of Halloween, at the first Halloween, Michael Myers did leave a body print after he took off.
Fair. I
So
mean,
they're still thinking that. So they're still thinking that kind of.
And yeah, I still can't blame Dr. Loomis because he even goes batshit insane on the film by saying, "I shot him 6 times, 6 times in the heart.
I shot him in the heart. I shot him 6 times.
Wait, how many again?
I shot him 6 times.
No, a little bit louder. Nah.
Yeah. But yeah, meanwhile, of course, like many 80s slasher films, Halloween would then eventually follow along the line with adding, for the first time ever, gore. But in some sort of way, I kind of had a feeling they should have just kept to their original roots, if you mean, because that's what I actually liked about the original as well. They somehow made it very memorable and still scary enough without actually adding any gore. And I don't know, I kind of actually had a feeling they should have always kept to their own style and not copy anyone else. I think that would have made them a bit unique, honestly. And yeah, I know they would have looked a bit at least old-fashioned back then, but I don't know. Some horror movies, even still now, I believe, don't really have that much violence in them and still make them pretty scary. Like scary stories to tell in the dark.
Because Friday the 13th came out at that time, they wanted to copy the success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday Part 2 did come out a few months before Halloween.
No. I'm talking about just the general influence of the first Friday the 13th and the general influence of that franchise in general up to that point, which you're right, was 2 films by then. But then while they were filming, they might have filmed it before Friday because it usually takes months to film a film, and sometimes they film it in the previous year. That's gonna, like, maybe if a film comes out in say 1994, maybe they filmed it in 93 or so, or maybe they filmed it earlier in 1994. It depends on the film, really.
That is true.
And also, meanwhile, Michael Myers eventually catches up to Laurie, and pretty much Laurie and Michael begin another round of cat and mouse, pretty much throughout the hospital.
Yeah.
And also, um, yeah, it's just what I like about this film as well. Actually, is here's some of the great things I find genius and that I like about Halloween 2. And no offense, unlike that Halloween sort of the original one kind of did. First off, is well, the reason why it's also so hard to find Michael is well, he's literally, I will admit, escaped the most perfect time in the year, a time where, well, it's hard to spot him. I mean, after all, nearly everyone is dressed up pretty much sort of like him. They're all in scary costumes and masks and everything, and he really blends in, and that's just what makes it even harder to find because, you know, what I mean, like it could be anyone for all they know.
Oh,
Not
and
only
speak.
that, it's just um, I even think just in general, when is it just me or just hospitals seem to be one of the best sort of places to keep a horror movie at least a majority of it,
Mhm.
because it at times, surprisingly enough, even some of the safest places in the world, like a hospital, even because they've even been shown a few other films and people have done a really good job of making them still look creepy and eerie and scary throughout the years.
Speaking of people dressed up like Michael Myers, I did want to point out one particular scene which made me, which just made me bust a gut. It was when Loomis thought he actually saw Michael Myers, even though the other person who looked like him was shorter and the mask had blonde hair. He was anyway. The Michael Myers lookalike crosses the road, gets hit by a car, which ran into another car and just blows the fuck up for no reason.
Speaking of, I was about to get to that later, but all right, if you wanted to mention it now, but I call that at least one of the most OMG moments or WTF moments of the film, which is what the fuck moments. But yeah, it's just seriously that poor kid though. Ben Tramer, by the way, his name is. Which one quick little reminder, if you guys didn't know, what Laurie mentioned that it was her crush in the previous film. Well, if she wanted to date with him, well, it certainly ain't happening now.
But he had a date with Destiny. No,
Anyway,
that,
but yeah, still, I find it so
Okay,
insane that
to be fair
Loomis is
though, Ben
about to
Tramer was
pretty much
hot before.
open fire on a Michael Myers wannabe, pretty much, or a Michael Myers look-like, until out of nowhere, a freaking cop car just here rams into poor Ben Tramer, and then rams into a van and explodes, and then burns to a crisp.
Oh,
Holy crap! I couldn't believe it when I saw that.
oh come on! I knew Ben Tramer was hot before, but this is ridiculous.
And this is literally what I said as well when I watched that again. This is literally the three things I said. First off, why the fuck was he speeding? Second, he should have a speeding ticket. And third, he should lose his badge.
mm. For a minute, I thought you were talking about the kid. I thought you were talking about the teenager for a minute, but I
No,
realized.
I'm talking about the police driver. But seriously,
Yeah, the
he should
cop
get a
driving the
speeding
car.
ticket and also lose his job for that.
Yeah. To be
Mm.
fair though, that scene was pretty freaking ridiculous.
I mean, when Loomis is pointing a gun to that other, I think, wait, was it a cop or a driver? I kind of forgot.
I think he was pointing the gun at Ben Tramer, mistaking him for Michael Myers.
No, I mean in the car when they're going to the hospital near the end. Who was that? I forgot who it was in the
I
movie.
forgot too.
I don't know either. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh well.
We're going there with it. Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
next I want to get to possibly the next category, the characters. First off is Laurie Strode, of course played by Jamie Lee Curtis once again.
Yeah,
And let's just say
unfortunately,
the only new things that they do with her is this time around, well, she is injured, and well, let's just say during, of course, her battle with Michael in the last few minutes, let's just say one of her bones went sort of in the wrong place, and so as I like to say, for a bit of a light hit, for I guess to be kind, she's in hospital letting those bones knit, while
Mm.
Michael is out there killing people, obviously, until of course so later on, they actually even get to explore well, more of her, or if I should say, they start exploring her backstory and some secrets that she may not even remember or not many people know about.
yeah. To be fair though, I do have a bit of a bone to pick with Curtis's portrayal of Laurie Strode in Halloween 2.
No
For the,
pun intended.
for the most part though, they just keep Laurie stuck in a hospital bed for the most part, and that really bugs me. I
Hmm.
mean, obviously Laurie Strode, for the most part, don't take no shit. Yeah, and
Yeah, speaking of,
unfortunately, they just keep her all they just keep her all woozy and stuck in a bed, wearing a very poor wig, by the way.
Well, she
so
had
what I like
to.
about, oh yeah, sorry, go.
She had to because Jamie Lee had cut her hair by then.
Yeah,
And,
that is true, but it was very obvious that it was a wig.
I mean, at least they were trying to stay
Laurie,
consistent with the hair.
yeah, in this film, Laurie and I should say Michael's backstory. I'll give you, I guess maybe the spoiler later on because I want to save it for later. But let's just say for now that more of their backstory is explored and even shown a bit more. And thankfully, they do the right thing at least by if they're showing, they don't have to tell; they just show.
Yeah.
But when you're,
Yeah,
of course, telling,
let's just
you
say
don't show.
they're connected in a
See
very
the difference?
yeah.
Don't want to give
Let's
a bit of
just
a tip for even
yeah.
inspired filmmakers out there. That's all.
Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Let's let one person speak at a time.
Of course. I was just gonna say that without spoiling it, let's just say that Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are connected in a very special way.
This is a spoiler review. You can just say it.
Yeah, but I was saving it for later.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I didn't want to spoil it.
Okay. Let's continue.
Yep. Anyway, now the next person, obviously, I want to get to is Dr. Loomis, played by good old Donald Pleasance. The only new
Yep.
things I can say about him is that, of course, non-stop throughout this film, he is just searching for Michael and isn't going to rest until he finds that evil, this evil
It.
sicko, I guess.
Yeah, don't forget. In the first film, Loomis refers to Michael Myers as an it, not a he or
Because
him.
he thinks that Michael is some sort of animal, some sort of supernatural being, of course.
Yep.
Well,
Even though we know,
he considers
even
him
though
pretty
we,
much the boogeyman.
yeah. But to be fair, we all pretty much know that Michael Myers is just one tough ass human.
I always
Greatest.
consider him human because in the first movie, when you see the little kid with the knife, that's Michael. That is the really psycho little kid. He's clearly human. There's nothing supernatural about him. He went up to his sister and stabbed her. Something that can happen in real life.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Like I said, he's just one tough ass human. Kind of
Mm.
like Leatherface.
Yeah.
And that makes me thinking. Sure, Michael Myers wasn't born in Texas.
I don't get that.
Anyway,
Anyway, yep. Also now, the next person I want to get to is I guess you could say Laurie's love interest of the film, Jimmy, played by I don't know if anyone else would
Lance
know.
guessed.
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong, he's at least out of most characters. I feel like at least he's developed in an okay amount, but still not enough. I feel like to at least for us to get to care for him or want care about him because I really wanted to see him interact with Laurie even more, but unfortunately we barely get any of that.
Yep.
That's
Here's
why
my
I don't
basic.
really, I guess, sense their sort of love that much.
Any. Okay. Here's my basic description of Jimmy. You basically take a tray full of gingerbread dough, take a gingerbread man cookie cutter, cut out a piece, and then boom, you have Jimmy. He's just as blind as they come.
you know what? I was thinking okay. Any time there's a blind character, I reckon we should just a blind character in a movie. We should just start calling him the gingerbread man, or depending on the gender of the character, maybe the gingerbread woman, because cookie cutter. I thought that'd be a
Yeah,
nice gag.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I prefer the term the ginger bland interest.
Whatever floats your boat, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the last is probably the most bland characters, I should say, of the entire film, and I wish we got more out of as well. But that is the doctors and the nurses. Since
Oh
they play
yeah.
a bit of a role in this, well, if that's what the film was trying to do, because in this film we barely got to really care for them or know them, and of course obviously one of the most important things to do in a film is to make your characters lovable and make people care about them. But for the doctors and the nurses, Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, at least in the, of course, the original official version of the film, I couldn't really care for them that much. They were just pretty much there to die. I mean, think about it. They're
Yeah,
pretty much
I
just
do.
there for the body count.
I do remember the names of at least a few nurses, and in fact, one of them is Nurse Janet, and it gave me a running count throughout on my watch of the movie. Every time she did something stupid, I just went, "Damn it, Janet!" And yes, folks, that is a reference to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Janet. Yes, Brad. I've got something to say. Uh-huh. I really love the skillful way. Okay, I won't go into it.
Moving on.
Love Rocky Horror. Okay. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, and one of them's called Nurse Karen.
Anyway, it's just now. Yep, now we just. Oh yeah. Now I wanted to get to two of the OMG what the hell moments, or even what the fuck moments. And I just always still found this so bizarre, and I just always wondered that is the boy, or at least the kid, who
Yeah,
came
Ben
into the
Trainer.
hospital with a razor blade in his mouth. These are
Ugh.
really the questions I ask. What the hell was he doing that night and to get that thing in his mouth? Second, what the hell did he eat, or how did that happen, and where did he do it, and why?
Well,
I'll
basically,
explain this.
yeah.
Basically, there was a going on rumor at the time that in certain Halloween, that around Halloween, older kids were actually shoving razor blades into candy bars. So when little kids actually bit down to the candy bars, they would get a razor blade stuck in their mouth. Fortunately, luckily though, there has been no actually recorded cases of any incidents where that has happened. It is only fictional, and this is the only instance that happens in this movie.
Even if they got an insane apple, they would bite into the apple and it would cut them.
Yeah, but still, there have been no recorded police cases of any incidents like this happening in real life. This is only a movie invention, and unfortunately, it's just
Actually, no offense, Silver,
I
but
believe it.
you actually are you're actually quite wrong. Guys, do you not remember with a little bit of a strawberry incident a while back?
Yeah,
There were razor
you're
blades
gonna have to like that. I'm not familiar
inside
with this.
them.
Yep. So what was the strawberry incident?
They had razor blades inside them a while back.
Oh,
Ooh.
now I remember. But not.
So yeah, no offense,
but
Silver,
remember,
but yeah, you're wrong about that.
but remember, this was not around October.
Yeah, this was a while ago anyway. I think it was even
Uh,
like a few years ago up to this point now.
Yeah. Either way, though, it's still fucked up.
Now, the last thing, actually, I don't think you guys ever even got to see, or like at least catch in the film. But if you looked very closely, you know the scene where, by the way, I believe the actress who played Annie reprising a role as well. Yep, Annie. Her father checks up on on his dead daughter, right? But do you know what I noticed about the actress so suspiciously?
She was still
as-
breathing, wasn't she?
No, well, actually, hold on. When her father closed her eyes for her, I swear I saw her eyes flicker or move a bit. I'm not kidding. If you look very closely, you can actually see them still moving. So this is what I did. No offense. I made a little bit of a joke of. No, really, it's fine. I just saw her move. She's faking it this entire time. It's an April Fool's prank.
I mean,
No, she did.
Hey, Michael, I thought you killed that girl. No, turns out I missed her. Yes, Annie, back for revenge. Annie should get her own spin-off. Yes, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I call bad acting on that. Speaking of Michael, though, let's get to the main man of the event himself, Michael Myers, who I don't think we mentioned last year, but in the first film, he was mostly played by Nick Castle. But in this film, he's played by an actor shorter than him, Dick Warlock, who is actually an amazing stunt actor.
Speaking of, it's just me, that name Dick Warlock. That's an awesome name.
So hang on, is it Warlock or Warlock like Eli Warlock?
I think it's
Warlock.
Warlock.
It's Warlock. Warlock.
Ah,
Yeah.
like Adam Warlock.
You know, just one quick thing I want to add actually as a bit of an extra though, before we talk about the last few minutes of this film.
Yeah.
And I actually did even check these out, at least for myself. Three actually things I want to tell you guys is first, This film actually had some deleted scenes I saw, and the good thing about them is that, at least from what I saw, there was a bit more scenes with the doctors, and you got to know them a bit more, which was nice, and an alternate ending.
Oh.
And no offense, as much as I think it's kind of cool seeing the alternate ending, this is one thing that I don't get. By the way, we'll mention this as well later on near the end of it, and you'll see what I mean. But somehow, when Laurie's carried into the ambulance or at the last few minutes, Jimmy somehow survives. Weird,
Well,
okay. They don't really explain it, unfortunately, but I wish they kind of at least showed or told us how. But anyway, they don't.
actually, last I checked, Jimmy never. Technically, Jimmy never actually died in the movie.
Oh.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
No, no.
Also,
I mean,
this film, by the way, did have a TV cut of the film, which added a few extra scenes. And although here's unfortunately the downside, though, when you guys possibly do check it out, the violence is cut out, and well, the bit of the nudity scenes are cut out as well. And
Oh,
warning,
you.
this version also has a bit of goofy acting in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
The original film's acting, I mean, you know what I mean by the original film. I mean Halloween 2, 1981, yes. But the original film's acting was not really consistent outside of maybe, well, okay, Jamie Lee Curtis was good, so was Donald Pleasance, but everyone else, it's typical slasher acting, you know?
That's true.
Anyway, the only thing I can think of now is just getting to the last few minutes of the film. So I was thinking,
before that,
would you like to explain them?
Sure, but one last thing before we start our final Black Engines, I want to point out something about Michael's mask in this one. It looks as if it's yellowed a bit, and that was because at the time, the mask was being held onto by John Carpenter's then partner, Deborah Hill, who was herself a chain smoker at the time. Hence why the mask looks a bit yellowed with reddish hair.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, one little interesting fact real quickly. That mask actually, I believe, still exists today.
Yeah, except it's more decomposed and really falling apart. In fact, last I checked in 2008, someone actually bought it at an auction for around $250,000.
Now, on a more serious note, I would like to say I'm pretty sure that, Deborah Hill has passed by now. So,
unfortunately, yeah.
And with that, let's get on with the end of the movie. Starting with the fact that it revealed at this point in the movie that Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are siblings. And to be more specific, Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' younger sister. Oh, yeah. Apparently, she was born 2 years after Michael was, and she was shipped out to a different family. I don't know why.
Michael was 1957, I would say. I mean, there's
not
actually...
only that, her parents died. That's why she had to be switched to a new family.
There's a bit of a mistake in the film, too. Technically, Loomis says, hey, he's 21, which is right, 21. But, however, hang on. The credits. You read the credits, it says he's 23.
Yeah, that's a bit of a typo error. My guess is that was a bit of a typo error. And I think that was made in the case when Michael was unmasked, but as when he was played by someone else other than Nick Castle, a guy named Tony Moran. And when we got to see Michael's face, it just looked pretty bland.
So what about the climax of the film? And hang on, before we mention the climax, though, I would like to mention a scene I particularly liked in this film, and that is the way that Rick Rosenthal builds a little bit of suspense in the hot tub scene. Like, we think it's normal, and he turns it up. And I'm not going to go into full description of the scene as we've done in the past, but yeah, basically, yeah.
Basically, the nurse in that...
Hey, no interrupting, remember? Okay, so basically, the way that he kills, I think the nurse in the hot tub is just brutal. First of all, second of all, it's just so frightening. Just and she doesn't know it's it's plausible. Michael's sneaking up on her. She doesn't know that he's not her boyfriend, and then just the viciousness of the drowning itself is just horrific to watch. Really, I mean, you can see the skin peeling, and you can see you can hear her scream, and it's just kind of it's horrifying, really. And I think
Yeah,
that scene was
especially
the most well done in the movie. Go on, Silver.
I was gonna say that she gets more than just drowned in that hot tub. She actually gets scalded to death.
That's what I was
Like
referring to with
yeah,
the skin.
basically her skin actually starts peeling off her face.
especially when she's being drowned to death in that steaming hot water. Far out, that would be just so agonizing. Yeah.
Although, to be
Now,
fair,
should we maybe get to the climax of the film?
Yeah, yes.
yes,
To the
because
climax.
basically it's at this point that Michael finally decides to go after Laurie, right? Finally, and just chases her all across the hospital. You imagine, even with Laurie managing to get in the car at one point, only for Jimmy, who had tripped on some blood, who had slipped on some blood earlier, to get into the car next to in with her, and then just fall unconscious at the wheel, just right onto the wheel and honking the horn. It's like you have the bat signal from Michael Myers, basically.
Yeah.
Oh. And then, continuing the chase, she manages to get into the safety of Dr. Loomis again, who is only at half loopy at this point. But don't worry, later on you'll get full loopy Loomis.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And even with the doors that Laurie went through locked, that doesn't stop Michael from freaking walking through the glass. That's all willy-nilly. He just like slam.
And then, of course, Loomis shoots him another whole bunch of times. And for
Yeah,
some
another 5
reason, this
times.
idiot cop who came with them, for some reason, makes the wise decision, obviously, and saying, "Oh, okay," kneeling down, saying, "Yep, he's okay." But then
No.
he gets his throat sliced and he is dead. What I'm
Yep.
trying to say is, in a slasher film, guys, never check on nearly pretty much, or basically on unstoppable masked killer to see if they're dead. Because you
In
know
other
they're
words,
not, and then you know they're going to come back for, as Scream even put it, they always come back for one last scare.
Oh,
in other words, don't be an idiot in horror movies.
it worked well in Halloween 1 when he rises up behind her, but it didn't work well in this Halloween.
Well, she was probably paralyzed by fear in that movie. Anyway, eventually, Loomis and Laurie run to a room that's full of gas, which I'm pretty sure included nitrous oxide, which, when combined with oxygen, makes laughing gas. Oh, come on, it's not that funny.
Okay.
Shut it,
Anyway, jokes
Joker.
aside.
Would it be funny though if I mentioned that people have actually died from an overdose of nitrous oxide of laughing gas?
Oh shit! Sorry. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Hey, just wanted to point out why it wasn't funny.
Okay, I was trying to do it in the exaggerated Batman the Animated Series way.
Yeah.
Joker doing the gas.
Yeah, but to be fair, that wasn't.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's enough of that. Let's move on.
Okay. As Michael follows him in, even smashing the door down, he knocks out Loomis with one quick swipe of the scalpel he's been wielding so far, and then Laurie gets as Michael's gun and shoots him and right in the eye holes, and he actually starts bleeding from them too, which I find that Rosenthal did a great job with that a bit.
Yeah, not bad shooting a revolver for the first time. Although what I find now a bit goofy about this scene is for quite a while, Michael just starts swinging the scalpel around like a complete idiot. No offense.
He was shot. Keep in mind, Stein, he was shot in the eye, so he wouldn't be able to see anything.
Yeah.
That's true, but I don't know. Just at least the sound when it goes like,
Yeah, like,
I don't know. Just I think it's a bit cartoony.
The sound was definitely cartoony in that scene, but I get where they went with the whoosh, but maybe not the personal choice as a filmmaker.
Yeah. Also, I almost forgot that. Meanwhile, he stabs just I wouldn't say too much, but a little bit of Loomis, and Loomis goes down for a short time. And then, of course, Loomis and Laurie start turning on this gas that starts distracting Michael pretty much.
Which I believe was ethanol. And then, after Loomis tells Laurie to run, he pulls out his lighter, flicks it on, and boom! They both go up in a giant fireball.
And as I would like to say, pretty much Dr. Loomis puts on one last act of defiance. And blows them to smithereens, and pretty much blows up Michael and himself to smithereens while Laurie escapes.
It's at this point I should point out that this was supposed to be the original death of both Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers, until the grandfather of the Halloween franchise, Mustafa Akkad, decided to retcon that and to just them getting caught in the big explosion and make them both alive in Halloween 4.
And pretty much burning Michael Myers with his full body is burning to a crisp, and still he's walking around. But
Yeah, it's like
thankfully,
he's trying to
it's
fight
too much to handle, and he falls to the ground and burns to a crisp.
Oh, one last thing I want to point out though is that during that scene, Dick Warlock, who, like I mentioned, was also a stunt performer, actually wore a fireproof suit, which unfortunately had metal zippers on the arms, and he actually received a severe burn from having the metal zippers on his arms, which is why today fireproof suits does no longer have metal zippers on the arms. The more you know. So yeah, it seems like Laurie has once again survived the wrath of Michael Myers and is carved out into an ambulance once again, as the movie ends with a peculiar song choice, a song called "Mr. Sandman," which also opened up this movie.
Yeah, speaking of, it also opened up twice, obviously, in the first few minutes and the last few minutes. One little fact as well, I heard it was the first ever happy sort of music put into a horror film. And what I still like about it is, no offense, as much as I kind of find it a bit, sort of not in a bad way, but still like kind of a bit out of messed up, I should say. Like, because it's in a horrible situation, but at the same time, I kind of like that how it just puts everyone off. Like, wait a minute, a whole bunch of horrible shit just happens and a nice song comes on, but hey, it sounds nice still. I love Mr. Sandman.
And that was our review of Halloween 2. All in all, not a bad sequel.
Outro music. Go ahead.
All in all, not a bad sequel. I mean, honestly, like the first movie, it does have its flaws, but that doesn't stop it from being a pretty good follow-up to Oma's original wacky adventures. As for my final thoughts, though, this movie does have a few flaws here and there, but all in all, I got no shame with it. I give Halloween 2 an 8 out of 10.
Now my turn. Yeah, no offense. Anything I would say that I don't like is obviously the bit of the doctors. I don't really like how they didn't get developed that much. Second, still wish they kind of explained, at least in the alternate ending, how Jimmy survived, and I wanted a bit more of him.
He was unconscious.
With Laurie in this film, and I wanted also a bit more of Laurie in this film. But on that, Halloween 2 is still a great and awesome sequel. I give it an 8 out of 10.
And as I pointed out, Jimmy
hold on, Spike didn't give his.
I'm giving it. I was originally going to give a 6, but I think a 7. Sorry, I looked up there. I heard an incredibly weird noise. Something just hit my house wall from the outside. I mean, I don't know what it could be.
Who knows? It could have been a flying Michael Myers.
All right. So yeah, 7 out of 10 because the hot tub scene was very well executed, and the climax of the film was reasonable.
Also, anyway, that was our review of Halloween 2. Next time, we'll be reviewing the sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge.
Woo!
The goofiness of Nightmare on
Elm
Street, I should say.
Yeah,
Until then, we'll see you next time, kiddies. And whatever you do, though, watch Halloween 2 6 times! 6 times! You must watch it!
I'm the Silver Screen Slasher, and remember, Freddy's Revenge will be a little bit strange.
But that's okay.
See you next time, kiddies.
Next time.